life skills, consumer awareness. A cash memo is a document that a seller passes to a buyer at the time of a specific purchase of goods or services. A cash memo is similar as an invoice or a bill. It is recognized as a legal document and is used to record transactions that are paid for using cash. We must take a cash memo or bill of any purchase which we make at any business place. We cannot use the consumer's right without a receipt in future regarding the purchase we made. Simple interest, principal, interest and amount. In day-to-day life, we do not have always enough money to fulfill the needs, so we have to borrow some money as a loan from other persons or institutions. After some time, when we go to pay the loan credited, we have also to give some extra money with it to settle the loan. On the other hand, when we have money exceeded from our monthly expenses, we cut it in our savings account. After a certain period of time, banks also added some extra money to our account. The extra amount of money that we have to pay as a service charge to somebody or banks added to our account is called interest or simple interest. The sum of money that we borrowed from somebody or deposited in the bank account is called principal. The total money that we paid after a period of time to settle the loan is called amount. Rate of interest. For a certain period of time and for a given sum of money, the interest is calculated at a fixed rate. The fixed rate is called rate of interest or interest rate. Generally, it is given in percentage for a year. Warm up. Wonders of air. Air and water are two basic necessities of life. Air is everywhere. Can you tell how the size of balloon grows bigger on blowing it air around us. Have you ever seen air? We cannot see air, but we can feel it when it blows. Moving air is called wind. Air is present all around us. The thick layer of air around the earth is called atmosphere. The atmosphere extends up to a height of about 800 kilometers above the surface of earth. Composition of air. Air is a mixture of many gases. It contains 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, 0.03% carbon dioxide, some water vapor and other gases. All living things breathe in air to get oxygen from it. This oxygen is taken by the blood and given to different parts of the body to perform life activities. Carbon dioxide is given out as a result of respiration. Oxygen also supports burning of fire. On inverting the bell jar, the flame of the candle gets smaller and weaker until it finally goes out. The burning of the candle depends on the amount of oxygen in the air of the jar. The smaller jar had less oxygen and hence candle burned for a shorter period in it. The bigger jar had more oxygen and the candle burned for a longer period in it. Nitrogen. Gas is very important to all living organisms. It is not used directly from the air. Animals get it from plants. Plants get nitrogen from the soil. The nitrogen from the air reaches the soil by the activity of soil bacteria. The soil bacteria fix the nitrogen with other elements like hydrogen and oxygen and make them available to the plants. The carbon dioxide gas present in the air is used by green plants to prepare food by the process of photosynthesis. This process gives out oxygen. In general, all organisms breathe in oxygen and give out carbon dioxide, while green plants use carbon dioxide and give out oxygen. This keeps a balance in the amount of oxygen and carbon dioxide in the atmosphere. Water from water bodies evaporates to form water vapor. This is how air gets water vapor. The other gases present in the air do not have direct importance for the living things. Knowledge zone. Some plants like pea, gram, etc. have bacteria in their roots. These root bacteria are capable of trapping the nitrogen of the air and providing it to the plants. Properties of air. Air has weight, activity. Take two deflated footballs of the same size. Weight them on a beam balance. Inflate one of them. Weight them again. Which football is heavier? The inflated football is heavier because it has inside it. This shows that air has weight. Air occupies space. Activity. Take an empty glass, turn it upside down, place it on the surface of water in a tub. Gently press it down. Does water enter the glass? Water does not enter the glass as it is full of air. This shows that air occupies space. Thus, air has weight and occupies space. Air exerts pressure. Anything that has weight exerts pressure. Gases exert pressure in all directions on the inner walls of the container that holds them. Activity. Take a capped plastic bottle, fill the water. Take a pin and poke a hole into the side of the bottle close to the bottom. Remove the pin. Observe what happens. Remove the bottle cap. Observe what happens now. Knowledge zone. Pressure exerted by air is called atmospheric pressure. The instrument used to measure air pressure is called barometer. There are two forces acting at the hole of the bottle. Water pressure inside the bottle is trying to push the water out of the pinhole. At the same time, the air pressure outside the bottle is trying to keep the water inside the bottle. When the bottle is capped, the forces inside and outside the bottle remain equal and water does not leak out of the pinhole. But when the cap is removed, the air pressure above the water becomes greater and forces the water to come out of the pinhole. Uses of air pressure. Air pressure is used to fill a pitchhari and a doctor's syringe. Air pressure is also used to fill ink in a fountain pen. Moving liquids from one container to other using a siphon is a common practice in our day-to-day life. This makes us use of air pressure exerted on the surface of liquid. Air pollution. The presence of unwanted and harmful materials in the air is called air pollution. Air pollution. The unwanted substances are called pollutions. Smoke and dust are the main pollutions of air. They are very harmful to plants and animals. Source of air pollution. Burning of fossil fuels releases carbon dioxide and other harmful gases into the air. Industries release smoke containing many harmful gases. Rotting garbage and open drains release gases having foul smell. Automobiles release harmful substances like oxides of nitrogen and sulfur. Aeroplanes and spacecrafts release lots of smoke in the air. Effects of air pollution. Air pollution causes allergies, irritation of eyes, nose, throat, and diseases like asthma, bronchitis, and respiratory disorders. The harmful gases released by air conditioners and refrigerators have reduced the thickness of the ozone layer of the atmosphere. Polluted air kills plants and trees by damaging their leaves. Burning of fossil fuels has increased the amount of carbon dioxide in the air, which in turn has increased the temperature of the atmosphere over a period of time. This is called global warming. It is causing a threat to life on the earth. The layer of ozone gas around the earth in the upper atmosphere acts as an umbrella over us. It saves us from harmful rays of the sun. Controlling air pollution. Trees remove carbon dioxide from the air and release oxygen into it. Thus, planting more and more trees can help control air pollution. Automobiles should be checked regularly so that they do not release harmful gases. We should use renewable forms of energy like solar energy by using solar cookers, solar cells, solar heaters, etc. They do not cause air pollution. We should use non-polluting fuels like CNG for cars and buses. We should use only eco-friendly sprays, cosmetics, and perfumes. They save the ozone layer from damage. Checkpoint 2. Circle the odd one out. Petrol, diesel, coal, CNG. Bronchitis, malaria, jaundice, cholera. 3. Tree, aeroplane, car, air conditioner. 4. Carbon dioxide, nitrogen, oxygen, ozone. At one go. The earth is surrounded by a blanket of air called atmosphere. The main gases in the atmosphere are oxygen, nitrogen, and carbon dioxide. Oxygen is the most important of all gases of the atmosphere. Air has weight, occupies space, and exerts pressure in all directions. Polluted air is harmful to our health. Matter. Warm up. Water is found in 3 different physical states. Which state is shown in the picture? What are other states of water? 3 matter around us. Everything that we see around you as is matter. In fact, anything that has weight and occupies space is called matter. 3 states of matter. Matter exists in 3 states: solid, liquid, and gas. Sometimes the same matter can exist in 3 different states. For example, water is a liquid normally. When we freeze it, it becomes solid. The same water, when boiled for some time, changes into gas activity. Look around you and make a list of objects that occupy space and have weight. Composition of matter. Matter is made up of atoms and molecules. Atoms are tiny particles which form the building blocks of matter. They are so small that they cannot be seen with the naked eye. Different objects are made up of different types of atoms. Most atoms do not stay alone. They combine with other atoms of same or different kinds to form molecules. Atoms or molecules make a material just like bricks make a wall. Molecules always keep moving and attract other surrounding molecules. Molecules in solid, liquid, and gaseous states behave differently. Features of matter in 3 different states. Solid. Solid have a definite shape and definite volume. Liquid. Liquid have no definitive shape but have a definitive volume. Gas. Gases neither have a definitive shape nor a definitive volume. Molecules in a solid lie very close to each other. Molecules in a liquid are not as close to each other as in solids. Molecules in a gas are far apart. The molecules are very strongly attracted towards each other and the molecules are very strongly attracted towards each other and their movement is very slow. The molecules are not attracted towards each other with strong forces and therefore they move faster as compared to solids. The molecules have very weak forces between them. So they move apart much faster as compared to solids and liquids. Solids cannot flow. Liquids can flow. Gases flow in all directions. Classification of matter. Matter can be classified into elements, compounds, and mixtures depending upon the nature of atoms present in it. Some substances are made up of only one kind of atoms. Such a matter is called an element. Iron, silver, gold, oxygen, and mercury are different elements. They are made up of only one kind of atoms. Different elements are found on the earth. Each element is represented by a symbol. Scientists often use these symbols to represent these elements instead of their names. For example, O is used for oxygen, N for nitrogen, C for carbon, H for hydrogen, and so on. Compounds. Most substances around us are made up by combination of more than one kind of elements. The elements of different kinds combine in a fixed ratio to form a compound. For example, oxygen and hydrogen are two elements. They combine in a fixed ratio to form a compound called water. In water, two atoms of hydrogen combine with one atom of oxygen. A compound is a totally new substance formed from its elements. Water is totally different in appearance, physical state, and behavior from that of oxygen and hydrogen. Water is liquid at room temperature, while oxygen and hydrogen are gases. Elements that form a compound cannot be separated easily. Sugar, salt, etc. are some examples of compounds. Knowledge zone. Water is a compound made up of oxygen and hydrogen, where one is needed for burning. Oxygen and the other burns itself. Hydrogen and water itself is used for extinguishing fire. Activity. Take a mixture, iron fillings and sulfur powder in a china dish and heat it over a burner. What happens to iron and sulfur? Can you now separate the two elements? Mixture. When two or more substances are put together and they do not combine, they form a mixture. It does not lead to the formation of a new substance. Take some iron, nail, and tea grains in a china dish. Mix them well. Take a magnet and roll it over the mixture. What happens?
Digestive system. Mouth. Mouth oral cavity is the first part of the GIT and carries the salivary glands. Teeth, tongue. The mouth is guarded by the lips, cheek, palate and tongue. Salivary glands are of three pairs: parotid, submandibular and sublingual glands. These glands secrete saliva into the mouth. The sight, smell, taste and even thought of food secretes saliva. Saliva moistens the mouth and keep the teeth clean. The main enzyme present in saliva is salivary amylase or platin, which partially digests the food in mouth. Teeth are organs to cut, tear and grind the ingested food. There are two sets of teeth in men: milk teeth and permanent teeth. The milk teeth are seen in children and are 20 in number. These are replaced by permanent teeth at the age of 6 to 8 years, which are 32 in number. Pharynx. The mouth opens into the pharynx. It is an organ common to both digestive and respiratory tract. Oesophagus. The oesophagus is a long tube that runs from the mouth to the stomach. Food is moved through the oesophagus by waves of contraction of muscles within the walls. This process is called peristalsis. Stomach. Stomach is a muscular sac which acts as an organ of storage and digestion. The gastric glands located within the stomach secrete a digestive fluid called gastric juice. Small intestine. It is about 6 meter long, 2 centimeter diameter. Small intestine is divided into 3 parts: duodenum, C-shaped part and curves beneath the liver; jejunum, middle part of small intestine; ileum, highly coiled part of small intestine. The wall of small intestine contains finger-like projections called villi, which increases the absorptive surface area. In between villi are numerous intestinal glands. The juice secreted by this gland is called intestinal juice. Large intestine. Large intestine is about 1.5 meter long and extends from the lower part of ileum to anus. The large intestine begins with a blind pouch called the cesium. Vermiform appendix is a blind tube extends from cesium. The colon is divided by positionally into ascending colon, followed by the transverse colon, which goes back down the other side of the body as the descending colon, and then continues as the sigmoid colon. The sigmoid colon extends towards the rectum and opens out through the anus. Liver. Liver is the largest gland of the body, which lies in the right hypochondrium beneath the diaphragm. The main function of liver in the digestion is the production of bile, which is secreted into small intestine. The alkaline nature of bile helps to neutralize the acidity of food in the intestine. Gall bladder stores the bile produced from the liver. bile helps in fat digestion. Pancreas. Pancreas is a flat leaf-shaped gland located beneath the stomach. Pancreas is having both endocrine and exocrine functions. Enzymes present in pancreatic juice secreted from the exocrine part help in the digestion of carbohydrates, fats and proteins. And endocrine part produces the hormones insulin and glucagon. Mechanism of digestion. Digestion begins with the mouth. Chewing, mastication breaks the food into pieces that are easily digested, while saliva mixes with the food to begin the process of digestion. The chewed food is transferred to esophagus while swallowing. Deglution. The esophagus delivers food to stomach by means of series of muscular contractions called peristalsis. At stomach, gastric juice is mixed up and after an hour the food is changed into semi-liquid paste called chyme. Then the food reaches the small intestine where it mixes with the digestive enzymes from intestinal juice, pancreatic juice and bile from liver. Majority of digested food is absorbed from small intestine. Whatever material is left goes into a large intestine. Here water is absorbed back to the body and the waste product phases is formed. It is stored in the rectum until they are eliminated from the body through anus by the process called defecation. Digestive disorders. Vomiting, emptying of stomach in reverse direction. Diarrhea, frequent defecation usually with watery stool. Constipation, if the intestinal movement is decreased, digested materials remain within the colon and rectum for long periods. As a result, more water is reabsorbed and become drier and harder, making defecation more difficult. This conduction is referred to a constipation. Gastroenteritis, an acute or chronic inflammation of the mucosa of the stomach and intestine. Urinary system. The urinary system is also known as the renal system, which produces urine and eliminates it from the body. The purpose of the urinary system is to eliminate waste from the body, regulate blood volume and blood pressure, control level of electrolytes and metabolites, and regulate blood pH. The parts of the urinary system are the kidneys, ureters, urinary bladder, and urethra. The kidneys help for the formation of urine. Ureters help for the transport of urine from kidneys to the urinary bladder. Urine bladder acts as a reservoir of urine, and the urethra help for the passage of urine from the urinary bladder to the external environment. Urinary system diagram. Aorta, inferior vena cava, right kidney, left kidney, ureter, urethra, bladder. Kidneys are a pair of bean-shaped organs. Right kidney is at a lower level compared to left kidney because due to the presence of liver on the right side of the abdominal cavity. Renal arteries supply oxygenated blood to the kidney, and renal vein collect deoxygenated blood from the kidney. Formation of urine. Urine is formed in the kidneys. The kidneys are composed of millions of functional units is called nephrons. Urine formation occurs in 3 steps. Glomerular filtration, tabular reabsorption, tabular secretion. Glomerular filtration. It is the filtration of blood in the glomerular nephrons. The glomerulus filter waste product like urea, uric acid, creatine, electrolyte, and water from the body. Tubular reabsorption. It is the reabsorption of usable substance present in the glomerular filtrate like glucose, amino acid, water, electrolytes, etc. They are reabsorbed from the tubular fluid, transferred into peritubular capillaries. Tubular secretion. It is the secretion of unwanted materials like ammonia, hydrogen ions, chloride ions, biocarbonates, drugs, etc. from peritubular capillaries to renal tubular lumen. It is the opposite process of reabsorption. The clear watery fluid formed in the nephron after glomerular filtration, tubular reabsorption, and tubular secretion is called urine. The volume of urine formed is 1.5 to 2 liters a day. The process of expulsion of urine is called micturition. Normal urine is straw colored, pale and yellow colored due to presence of pigment urochrome. Composition of normal urine. Urine contains 95% of water and 5% of solid components. Solid components include both organic and inorganic constituents. Organic constituents include nitrogen and non-nitrogenous compounds. Abnormal components of urine. Abnormal components of urine: glucose, protein, cation bodies, blood, bilirubin, CAS. Clinical importance of urine analysis: UTI, urinary tract infection, kidney diseases, diabetes mellitus, kidney stone, pregnancy. Reproductive system. Reproduction is the process by which a living organism gives rise to new individuals for its own kind. for the propagation of the species. There are two types of reproduction: asexual and sexual reproduction. Sexual reproduction is a very complex process that involves the formation and transfer of gametes followed by fertilization, formation of the zygote and embryogenesis. Asexual reproduction is the process of reproduction involves only one parent and the new offspring produced is genetically similar to the parent. All human beings undergo asexual mode of reproduction. In human beings, both male and female have different reproduction systems. Male reproductive system. The organs of the male reproductive system can be divided into primary organs and accessory organs. The primary organs are the testes, which produce sperms and produce male sex hormone, which are responsible for the development of the male sex organs. The accessory organs include vas deferens, seminal vesicles, prostate gland, epididymis, ejaculatory duct and penis. Male reproductive tract: bladder, prostate, penis, urethra, rectum, seminal vesicles, anus, vas deferens, epididymis, testes, tunica virginis, scrotum. The testes are oval organs about the size of very large olives that lie in the scrotum. The bag of skin that holds and helps to protect the testes contains highly coiled seminiferous tubules in which sperms are produced. It also contains specialized cells called interstitial cells or Leydig cells, which produce the hormone testosterone. The secretions of epididymis, seminal vesicles and prostate gland along with spermatozoa of the test constitute of the seminal fluid or semen. It is expelled from the body by a process called ejaculation through the penis. Semen analysis is done for the investigation of male infertility and to check the effectiveness of vasectomy. Computers and operating system. Software licenses can generally be divided into two categories, namely proprietary license and free and open source licenses. Proprietary software. The main feature of proprietary software license is that the software publisher grants a license to use one or more copies of software, but the ownership of those copies remains with the software publisher. That is why the term proprietary is used. In this type of licensing, all rights regarding the software are reserved by the software publisher and only a very limited set of well-designed rights are passed to the end user. The most significant effect of this form of licensing is that if ownership of the software remains with the software publisher, then the end user must accept the software license. In other words, without acceptance of the license, the end user may not use the software at all. One example of such proprietary software license is the license for Microsoft Windows. Free and open source software. In the case of a free software license, ownership of a particular copy of the software does not remain with the software publisher. Instead, ownership is transferred to the end user. As a result, the end user will get all rights granted by copyright law to the copy owner. Additionally, a free software license typically grants to the end user extra rights, which would otherwise be reversed by the software publisher. A primary consequence of the free software from licensing is that acceptance of the license is essentially optional. The end user may use the software without accepting the license. However, if the end user wishes to exercise any of the additional rights granted by a free software license, such as the right to redistribute the software, then the end user must accept and be found by the software license. An example of free software license is the GNU General Public License (GPL). This license is aimed at giving the end user significant permission, such as permission to redistribute, reverse engineer, or otherwise modify the software. These permissions are not entirely free of obligations for the end user. However, the end user must comply with certain terms. If the end user wishes to exercise 3 extra permissions granted by the GPL. Types of software. Computer software may be classified into 2 broad categories, namely system software and application software. System software. System software runs the computer system. Software consists of computer programs that manage and support a computer system and its information processing activities. It consists of a group of programs that control the operations of a computer equipment, including functions like managing memory, managing peripherals, loading, storing, and is an interface between the application programs and computer. System software includes operating systems, programming languages, and utility programs. MS, DOS, Microsoft's disk operating system, Unix are examples of system software. Application software. Software that can perform a specific task for the user, such as word processing, accounting, budgeting, or payroll, fall under the category of application software. Word processors, spreadsheets, database management systems are all examples of general purpose application software. Overview of operating system. An operating system is the system software responsible for the direct control and management of the hardware that makes up a computer and a basic system operations. The operating system is a collection of programs that control the overall operation of a computer. It controls the operations of central processing unit, controls the input-output units, storage units, and provides various support services to execute application programs. The operating system programs are also known as executive or supervisor or control program and is permanently stored in the main memory of the computer. Operating system connects various languages and application programs available. The user can concentrate his entire attention in doing his job with application program. He need not to worry about the functions of a computer hardware. Thus, an operating system stands between users on the one hand and external hardware and software on the other. A user communicates with a computer through operating system. The more friendly the operating system, the easier it is for users to interface with and make use of the computer. An operating system enables users to communicate with the computer and also enables the computer to communicate with peripheral devices. The most popular operating system for microcomputer is known as MS-DOS Microsoft Disk Operating System. It is a disk-based operating system that is used in all IBM personal computers. Unix is another important operating system which has developed at Bell Laboratories. Different versions of Unix are available and most of which are not compatible to each other. Microsoft came out with a series of Windows operating systems. Functions of operating system. An operating system performs three major management functions in the operation of computer system. They are job management. The job management function of an OS prepares, schedules, controls and monitors jobs submitted for execution to ensure the most efficient processing. A job is a collection of one or more related programs. And their data. For example, the activities include selecting jobs for execution by the computer system, starting the processing of each job, finishing the job and communicating the operator the progress of the job. Resource management. The resource management function of an OS allocates computer resources such as CPU, time, main memory, secondary storage, and input and output devices for use. Effective management of all these computer resources is highly required for doing the job successfully. Data management. The data management functions of an OS govern the input and output of data and their location, storage and retrieval. It also is responsible for storing and retrieving information on disk drives and for the organization of that information on the drive. This is a collection of programs that performs all the functions required for the input and output of data. Different types of operating systems. Following are the different types of operating systems. Real-time operating system. A real-time system is defined as a data processing system in which the time interval required to process and respond to inputs is small, that it contains the environment. The time taken by the system to respond to an input and display of required updated information is termed as the response time. So in this method, the response time is very less as compared to online processing. A real-time operating system must have well-defined fixed time constraints, otherwise the system will fail. For example, scientific experiments, medical imaging systems, industrial control systems, weapon systems, robots, air traffic control systems, etc. Real-time system is used for at those places in which we require higher and timely response. The main object of real-time operating systems is their quick and predictable response to events. Multi-user and single-user operating systems. A multi-user operating system allows the multiple users to use the same computer at the same time and different times. Time sharing system can be classified as multi-user systems as they enable a multiple user access to computer through the sharing of time. Examples of operating systems that would include into this category are Linux, Unix and Windows XP. On the other hand, single user operating systems are usable by a single user at a time. Multitasking and single tasking operating systems. Multitasking operating system that is capable of allowing multiple software processes to run at the same time. The ability to execute more than one task at the same time is called as multitasking. This type of operating system allows the execution of multiple tasks at one time. Examples of operating systems that would include into this category are Linux, Unix and Windows XP. When a single program is allowed to run at a time, the system is grouped under a single tasking system. Multiprocessing operating system. Generally, a computer has a single processor, means a computer have just one CPU for processing the instructions. But if we are running multiple jobs, then this will decrease the speed of CPU. For increasing the speed of processing, we use the multiprocessing. In the multiprocessing, there are 2 or more CPU in a single operating system. If one CPU will fail, then another CPU is used for providing backup to the first CPU. With the help of multiprocessing, we can execute many jobs at a time. All the operations are divided into the number of CPUs. If first CPU completed his work before the second CPU, then the work of second CPU will be divided into the first and second. Distributed operating system. Distributed means data is stored and processed on multiple locations. When a data is stored onto the multiple computers, those are placed in different locations. Distributed means in the network. Network collections of computers are connected with each other. When computers in a group work in cooperation, they make a distributed system. If we want to take some data from the other computer, we use the distributed processing system. We can also insert and remove the data from out location to another location. In this case, data is shared between many users. We can also access all the input and output devices and also accessed by multiple users. Embedded system. The operating systems designed for being used in embedded computer systems are known as embedded operating systems. They are designed to operate on small machines like PDAs with less autonomy. They are able to operate with a limited number of resources. There are very compact and extremely efficient by design. Windows CE, FreeBSD and Minix 3 are some examples of embedded operating systems. Features of operating system. The important features of operating system are as follows. Managing hardware and software. Operating system allows the hardware and software in a computer to interact with each other. It is also the platform that enables one software in the computer to communicate with another. Consistent application program interface. Application program interface API allows the application that run on one computer to run on another computer having the same operating system. It is thus important that the operating system has a consistent API. Every operating system will have certain requirements, but it should be flexible enough to support computer hardware from different vendors. Features of operating system. Program execution. It is the operating system that executes all the programs running in it. It is a rather complicated process. It may have to allow multitasking and allow different programs to run at the same time and share the system resources. It needs to allot RAM space to different applications running on the computer. Interrupts. The operating system needs to support a good number of interrupts to react with the immediate external environment. On receiving an interrupt, it should have the capability to stop the current execution and start off new process. Memory management. Computer operating system provides memory to do the different programs running on the computer. It has to prioritize and allocate memory to each application. Accessing data. The data required by any particular application software for its smooth running needs to be accessed by operating system. The operating system stores data in a particular storage area in such a way that the data can be retrieved as and when required. Networking. We are in the age of networking. Computers need to communicate with each other. A computer without internet is not even imaginable. It is the task of the operating system to provide the required networking features. Security. One of the most important features of operating system is the security provides. Right from setting passwords for login to providing firewall protection, everything comes under the task of operating system. Popular operating systems. The following section gives an overview of the important operating systems used. DOS, Disk Operating System. DOS stands for Disk Operating System. It simply means a system for operating the disks. However, DOS does more than just operate the disks. It enables the user to organize data files, load and execute, run program files, and control the input and output devices attached to the computer. The original version of DOS was purchased by Microsoft in 1981. MS-DOS allows the user to navigate, open and otherwise manipulate files on their computer from a command line instead of a GUI like Windows. Today, MS-DOS is no longer used. However, the command shell, more commonly known as the Windows command, the line is still used by many users. Unlike Windows, MS-DOS is a command line and is navigated by using MS-DOS commands. For example, if you want to see all the files in a folder in Windows, you would double click the folder to open the folder in Windows Explorer. In MS-DOS, to view that same folder, you would navigate to the folder using the cd command and then list the files in that folder using the dir command, direct command. DOS is an entirely text-based system. The DOS prompt, also known as the command prompt, All commands are typed at the DOS prompt. Basically, it is there to let you know or prompt you that the computer is waiting for your input, waiting for you to tell it what to do. After typing a command at the prompt and pressing the enter key, computer know that it is instructed to do something and that it should now act on these instructions. If we make a mistake in typing command, we will get an error message and a new prompt. Then the command is to be retyped correctly to make the computer to act further. This is a very fundamental way to interact with the computer, and if we understand, it is to understand, easy to understand any other operating system such as Windows, Unix, and even Macintosh, Mac OS. The Macintosh operating system, Mac OS, is an operating system developed by the American computer company Apple. Inc. The OS was introduced in 1984 to run the company's Macintosh line of personal computers, PCs. It is a graphical user interface GUI based OS that has since been released as a multiple different versions. Unlike all other contemporary PCs, the Mac OS was graphically based rather than typing commands and directory paths at the text prompt. Users moved a mouse pointer to visually navigate the Finder. A series of virtual folders and files represented by icons. Finder is similar to Windows Explorer. Most computer operating systems gradually adopted the GUI model. Later, Mac OS introduced features such as internet file sharing, network browsing, and multiple user accounts. Mac OS is considered the pioneer of GUI-based operating systems. Mac OS is a completely capable OS that provides functionality and services similar to Windows or Linux OS. Mac OS is designed to operate on Apple manufactured PCs and by default does not support architecture. Microsoft Windows Operation System. Windows OS computer operating system developed by Microsoft Corporation to run personal computers, PCs, featuring the first graphical user interface GUI for IBM compatible PCs. The Windows OS soon dominated the PC market. Approximately 90% of PCs run some version of Windows. The first version of Windows, released in 1985, was simply a GUI offered as an extension of Microsoft's existing disk operating system, based in part on licensed from Apple Inc. had used for its Macintosh system software. Windows for the first time allowed DOS users to visually navigate a virtual desktop, opening graphical windows, displaying the contents of electronic folders and files with the click of a mouse button, rather than typing commands and directory paths at a text prompt. Subsequent versions introduced greater functionality, including Windows File Manager, Program Manager, and print manager programs, and a more dynamic interface. Microsoft also developed specialized Windows packages including the networkable Windows for workgroups and the high-powered Windows NT aimed at businesses. The 1995 released Windows 95 fully integrated Windows and DOS and offered built-in internet support, including the worldwide web browser Internet Explorer. With the 2001 release of Windows XP, Microsoft united its various Windows packages under a single banner, offering a multiple editions for consumers, businesses, multimedia developers and others. The highly successful XP standard was succeeded in late 2006 by Windows Vista, which experienced difficulties in the market because of a large, slow and resource-consuming system. Responding to Vista's disappointing responses, Microsoft in 2009 released Windows 7, an OS whose interface was similar to that of Vista but was updated with good speed improvement and its modest system requirements. Windows 8 in 2012 offered a start screen with applications appearing as tiles on a grid and the ability to synchronize settings so users could log on to another Windows 8 machine and use their preferred settings. In 2015, Microsoft released Windows 10, which came with Cortana, a digital personal assistant, and the web browser Microsoft Edge, which replaced Internet Explorer. Microsoft also announced that Windows 10 would be the last version of Windows, meaning that users would receive regular updates on the OS, but that no more large-scale revisions would be done. Features of Windows. The following are some of the features of Windows XP. Multitasking. The greatest advantage of Windows is the ability to have several programs and documents open at the same time. Having this capability to work quickly and efficiently, one need not exit a program in order to access information from another program. One can quickly switch among programs. For example, we can have a word processing program, a database program, and an internet browser open at the same time with a few simple keystrokes. We can copy information from one program to another without closing any windows. Standard menu system. Microsoft imposes strict formatting guidelines for Windows programs. All Windows XP programs must use a standard menu system. As a result, we will find the same menu system and similar choices in all Windows XP programs. Menu commands. Commands are directions given to the computer. When we invoke a command, we are telling the computer to perform specific tasks. In Windows XP, we give commands by choosing them from menus listed on your screen. Clipboard. The clipboard is a temporary storage data. The clipboard stores cut or copied information until we paste it or cut or copy new information. We use the clipboard whenever we move or copy information in one program to another program. Recyclable bin. Whenever we delete a folder or file from our computer, Windows places the item in the recyclable bin. The recyclable bin allows us to retrieve items that we accidentally deleted or items found to be important later. Unix operating system. Unix is an operating system that was designed by Kenneth Thompson and Dennis Ritchie. System engineers at AT and I's Bell Laboratories in 1969. It evolved into many revisions and gained in popularity until 1977 because of its power, flexibility and portability. Unix can run on platforms ranging from mainframes, mini computers, PCs and Macs. The Unix operating system was designed to access the computer by a number of programmers at the same time and share its resources. The operating system coordinates the use of the computer's resources, allowing one person, for example, to run a spell check program while another creates a document, lets another edit a document while another creates graphics, and lets another user format a document, all at the same time, with each user unaware to the activities of the others. The operating system controls all of the commands from all of the keyboards and all of the data being generated, and permits each user to believe he or she is the only person working on the computer. This real-time sharing of resources makes Unix one of the most powerful operating systems ever. Basic components of Unix. The kernel. The kernel is the heart of the operating system. It interacts with the hardware and most of the tasks like memory management, tasks, scheduling and file management. The kernel controls the hardware and turns part of the system on and off at the programmer's command. If you ask the computer to list all the files in a directory, the kernel tells the computer to read all the files in that directory from the disk and display them on your screen. The shell. The shell is the utility that processes users' requests. The shell is a command line interpreter and functions as an interface between the user and the kernel. When a user logs in, the login program verifies the username and password and then starts the shell. When user types in a command at his terminal, the shell interprets the command and calls the program that he wants. Commands entered by the user are passed by the shell to the operating system, which carries them out. The results are then passed back by the shell and displayed on the user's display. The shell uses standard syntax for all commands. Commands and utilities. There are various commands and utilities which can be used for day-to-day activities. cp, mv, cat and grep, etc. are few examples of commands and utilities. There are over 250 standard commands plus numerous others provided through third-party software. All the commands come along with various options, files and directories. All the data of Unix is organized into files. All files are then organized into directories. These directories are further organized into tree-like structure called the file system. The features of Unix. The features that made Unix so famous are listed below. Multitasking system. Unix is a multitasking operating system, which means that a number of programs can run at the same time. This means that Unix has the ability to handle more than one task at a time. Multitasking, combined with being a multi-user system, makes it possible for more than one person to be logged in and using a Unix system simultaneously. Multi-user system. Unix is also multi-user. 2, 3 or more users are able to use the same processor to execute their programs. The computer can take the commands of a number of users to run programs, access files, and print documents at the same time. Portability. A major contribution of the Unix system was its portability, permitting it to move from one brand of computer to another with a minimum of code changes. Customers can then choose from a wide variety of hardware vendors without being locked in with a particular vendor. Flexibility. Unix is also a very flexible operating system, both for system administrators and users. Program names can be changed. Virtual memory. The Unix operating system has virtual memory or SAP space, which means it can run programs bigger than the amount of RAM the computer actually has. The amount of virtual memory is decided upon by the system administrator. Case sensitivity. The most common mistake for beginners involves the use of mixed case in Unix commands. Unix is case sensitivity. That is A is different from A. E-commerce. Internet is the most transforming invention in human history. It has the capacity to change everything. It has transformed the whole business world. The power of the internet as a global access was felt with the introduction of the World Wide Web. Never in the history of mankind has a popular innovation spread as fast as internet. Global network could make it easy to have business relations with customers across the world. Now businesses have been conducting using the limitless capabilities of internet. It is predicted that in the near future the digital economy will overtake the traditional economy of all developed countries. E-commerce is spreading so fast beyond boundaries and is growing globally. The innovative use of wonderful power of the internet has generated the right business initiatives all over the world, no doubt. Future will see the entire trading universe in the world in cyberspace. The speed of the information processing and distribution increased the speed of trade and commerce. Computers and networks are creating electronic marketing with vast potentialities in finding and interacting with customers, communication with the fellow firms, and developing new products and markets. Moreover, widespread of networking tools such as email, online services, and web browsers have created a new awareness of the commercial potential of the internet. While the internet has already been successfully used for marketing, advertising, and in some areas of commerce, much of its potentialities are still to be exploited. E-commerce is short for electronic commerce. It has become synonymous with buying and selling over the internet. E-commerce includes all business transactions that use electronic communications and digital information processing technology. Even before the widespread use of the internet for commercial purposes, there were companies that used private networks to transact business with each other. EDI or electronic data interchange is an early form of e-commerce. The high cost of installing and maintaining private networks blocked the growth of e-commerce. Another limiting factor was the use of proprietary standards. The popularity of internet paves the way for the widespread global adoption of e-commerce. This is because of the lower costs involved, and it is being based on open standards, meaning and concept. E-commerce is concerned with the buying and selling information, products and services over computer communication networks. E-commerce helps to conduct traditional commerce through new ways of transferring and processing information. Information is electronically transferred from computer to computer in an automated manner. E-commerce refers to paperless exchange of business information using electronic data interchange, electronic mail, bulletin boards, and other network-based technologies. Recently, business firms started to do their business over the internet. The internet has given great momentum to e-commerce because it is cheap compared to other types of networks. Capturing of information, its processing and distribution is inevitable to conduct trade and commerce irrespective of the type and nature of goods and services bought and sold. Thus, use of computers and networks to do commerce is known as e-commerce. It is essentially commerce in paperless environment. Almost all transactions in commerce can be done without paper. The World Trade Organization (WTO) defines e-commerce as a commercial process that includes production, distribution, sales or delivery of goods and services through the electronic means. In the resolution adopted by the General Assembly, the United Nations Commission on International Trade Law has noticed that an increasing number of transactions in international trade are carried out by means of the electronic data interchange and other means of communication, commonly referred to as electronic commerce, which involve the use of alternatives to paper-based methods of communication and storage of information. Andrew B. Winston defines e-commerce as it provides the capability of buying and selling production and information on the internet and other online services. Electronic commerce (EC) is where business transactions take place via telecommunications networks, especially the internet. E. Turban, J. Lee, D. King and H. M. Chung. Electronic commerce is about doing business electronically. P. Timmins. Source defines e-commerce as the sharing of business information, maintaining business relationships, and the conducting business transactions by means of telecommunications networks. All the above definitions are valid. E-commerce emphasizes the generation and exploitation of new business opportunities over internet. Electronic commerce or e-commerce is the combination of and integration of communication, data management, and security that allows companies to exchange information about the sale, delivery, and invoicing of goods and services. History of e-commerce. The history of e-commerce is a history of how information technology has transformed business processes. there have been several key steps in the history of e-commerce. The first step came from the development of the electronic data interchange, EDI. EDI is widely viewed as the beginning of e-commerce if we consider e-commerce as the networking of business communities and digitalization of business information. Large organizations have been investing in development of EDI since 60s. It has not gained reasonable acceptance until 80s. EDI has never reached the level of popularity of the web-based e-commerce for several reasons. High cost of EDI prohibited small business and medium-sized companies from participating in the electronic commerce. Slow development of standards hindered the growth of EDI, and the complexity of developing EDI applications limited its adaptation to a narrow user base. EDI is a set of standards developed in the 1960s to exchange business information and do electronic transactions. At first, there were several different EDI formats that business could use, so companies still might not be able to interact with each other. Electronic data interchange, EDI, allowed different companies to perform electronic dealings with one another. However, there was no guarantee that company A and company B had the same transactions capabilities. However, in 1984, when the ASCX 12 standards was established, it became stable and reliable in transferring large amounts of transactions. This was a huge movement in e-commerce history. The Internet was conceived in 1969 when the Advanced Research Projects Agency, a Department of Defense organization, funded research of computer networking. The Internet could end up like EDI without the emergence of the World Wide Web in 1990s. The web became a popular mainstream medium, perceived as the fourth mainstream medium in addition to point radio and TV, in a speed which had never been seen before. The web uses and content were increasing at an accelerated rate. Besides the availability of technical infrastructures, the popularity of the web is largely attributed to the low cost of access and simplicity of HTML authoring, which are the obstacles of EDI development. The Internet and web have overcome the technical difficulty of EDI, but it has not solved the problem of slow development of e-commerce standards. XML, as a meta markup language, provides a development tool for defining format of data interchange in a wide variety of business communities. Web services offers a flexible and effective architecture for the implementation. There is no doubt that XML and the web services will shape the course of e-commerce in years to come. The next major step occurred in 1992 when the Mosaic web browser was made available. It was the first point-and-click browser to access the web. The Mosaic browser was quickly adopted into a downloadable browser, Netscape, which allowed easier access to electronic commerce. Virtually anyone could now get onto the web with Netscape, where before only computer programs had the knowledge of how to do this. The development of DSL was another key movement in the development of e-commerce. DSL allowed quicker access and persistent connection to the internet. This technology allowed people who were previously connecting to the internet at 28.8 kilobits per second to now connected at several times that speed. In August 1999, Linux, an operating system celebrated by Finnish graduate student Linus Torvalds by becoming very popular. The development of Red Hat Linux was another major step in electronic commerce growth. Linux gave users another choice in a platform other than Windows that was reliable and open source. Microsoft, faced with this competition, needed to invest more in many things including electronic commerce. This was a warning to Microsoft that there is some strong competition it has to face. This means that Microsoft had to invest heavily in regaining mind share among e-business and technology decision makers. If not, Linux could easily become the dominant e-commerce platform of choice. The next important milestone in e-commerce was the development of Napster. Napster was an online application used to share music files for free.